Happy Wednesday, everybody. Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest here with Nadine and Philip.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
We collectively welcome you to our Wednesday YouTube live event. Today, you're going to get a hack and how to appeal your Social Security disability denial. That is, if you don't get approved at the initial application. Hopefully you've been following our tips and information from prior weeks in the last 19 years of doing this so that you can get through the initial application. But this is helpful information. Even if you are going through the approval process, you can understand what the next step is. And if you're already approved, what you're going to learn today, I'm in hopes will be educational for you in the event that maybe you go through a continuing disability review, or just in general, how you can use AI, artificial intelligence, to get resources that you need. So that's what we have on tap. Also today we have some questions to cover. Philip Price is with us. He runs the, as far as I know, the largest, fastest growing Facebook group out there for individuals trying to get their disability benefits. And you've collected some questions that we're going to answer, right? And then Nadine will monitor the chat, which you are welcome to enter your question in chat, or you can follow the directions that Nadine will provide you later in the program, and you can join the conversation. If you're going through the disability approval process, I would be glad to cover like what we did 2 weeks ago, like how to use AI to craft a statement to go in your initial application, or if you unfortunately have been denied and would like assistance in crafting a statement for your reconsideration appeal. We'll do that live right here. Live. Okay.
Or if they just want to share good news, right? Or if they've been approved.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Good news.
Yep.
Good news. Okay. Super. Oh, and at the end of the program today, we have an all new resource for you. Speaking of AI, how you can get additional answers, maybe something you think about after you leave today. So make sure you hang out until the end to learn about our new friend, Benny.
Yeah.
Benny. Okay, cool. Let's get on with it. So if you're like listening and you hear the first time, you're like, I'd missed the other pieces. You can just look at the YouTube live events. Last week we had Michael Sexton here, disability expert, who went through what cases get approved, what cases get denied. He has like an incredible record at winning cases at the hearing level. So that was very valuable. And then the week before that was the first of this AI segment, like how to use artificial intelligence, a free tool to craft a statement for your initial application. Really, the game of getting approved for disability is communication. There's many people that qualify for benefits. They just don't communicate it properly, or whoever's doing the work for them doesn't do it. And that might sound really simple, but it is helping Social Security understand that you have conditions that are being treated, that despite the treatment have put limitations on you that prevent you from working. That is the simplistic statement for disability. Okay. And there's 1.9 million people that applied last year. So if you're just guessing and other people aren't, you have to take that into consideration how your case is going to be evaluated, because Social Security would rather deny a case. That's what they're paid to do, really. And in my experience of like 2 decades, they'd rather deny than approve. All right. So getting into this, at the Disability Digest, when you join us as a member, which there's no charge, you click a green button, fill out your profile, and based on your profile, it will put you into our approval course. And when you're in the approval course, you will be guided to the segment of the course that is most relevant for you. So for today, what you see on the screen is the green button that I'm referring to. When you click the green button, I'm backing up a little bit, you start to fill out your profile. That's why listening here is great, wonderful, love to have you do it all day long, but the best way we can help you is a member, because otherwise you wouldn't get into the exact course that you need today without completing your profile. So you're just getting general information. So you've completed your profile, you've come in, unfortunately, you've been denied. You get guided into the segment of the disability approval course for reconsideration that is up on your screen. All right. So here is how we start the program. In this level of appeal, some of the preliminary things that you want to do when you receive your letter is you want to review it. And what you want to look for are like missing medical records. Maybe you had 5 doctors and they only received medical records from 4. Perhaps there's conditions that were not in there or limitations that were not in there. This actually happens. Social Security evaluates it, they miss stuff. And I'll use veterans as an example. A veteran applies for disability benefits, and one of the challenges they have is their medical records are not well kept by the VA, and there's a lot of them. So Social Security has to go through these to evaluate. There's 1,000 pages of medical records. They might not see everything. So that could cause it. Maybe there's new conditions that you have or conditions that increase in severity. So you're just looking for inconsistencies. And the actual nuts and bolts and how to apply, I'm not going to go through that in this. You can come and join us. It's section 2 in the course. But what I am going to do is just jump forward to the part of section 2 with how to use AI to craft your appeal. So when you file your reconsideration, now you can do this on your own, or if you're using a representative, what I'm sharing with you is what you should follow along and make sure that they actually do for you. But there's a statement that goes in your reconsideration appeal. And I have one up on the screen that just simply states what I disagree. I ask you to reconsider, and here's why. So this one says, I'm unable to work due to severe back pain limitations, limits my movement to standing for 15 minutes, sitting for 20 minutes, and I'm not able to lift more than 8 pounds. And then I'm seeing 3 doctors, taking 7 medications. I'm not able to successfully sustain my employment. And I've been prescribed 7 medications, of which 2 are very potent painkiller drugs, which cause me to be drowsy. So your statement is not going to be exactly this, I don't expect, but it's going to be some variation of it. And if you don't know how to craft your statement, listen to the version of the live 2 weeks ago or follow some of the other work. But this is what you need is your statement for your disability approval that you should have like when you start before you apply. That's what we teach you in the beginning of the course. All right, so what do you do with your statement? You've come up with your own unique statement that has a similar format to that. Is what I have done over here is just giving you an example of how you can create a prompt with AI. And AI is ChatGPT. There could be other versions of it, but I'm using ChatGPT for today's show. So what I did is I'm playing like I'm Fred Smith. And I'm just, I'm like, if you think about using AI like you have an administrative assistant or a secretary and you're asking it to do something, that can simplify the process. So this is what I have highlighted as what I'm referring to as a prompt. Fred Smith was denied for disability benefits at the initial application. Decision indicated that one of Fred's conditions, the degenerative disc disease, which is causing a lot of complications, was marked as mild in the decision letter, but is severe in the medical records. So for conditions to be marked mild is not impactful really. Moderate is the next level. Severe is, as it sounds, severe. So that was one area of the decision letter that was not consistent. Additionally, one of the doctors was missing, pain management. Dr. Wednesday was not in there. Please use the information provided below to create a statement. Now, the information provided below, all I did was I took this. So I'm going to take the prompt that I just read to you, like it's Mr. Fred Smith, and the information below. And then I'm going to go over and I put it into Chat GPT up here. I just entered it in. So I already did this before the show so I could speed things up. So you would just, if you were doing this over again, you would just put it in there. And then Chat GPT would do its thing. So here's the end result. That simple statement comes up with a formulated document like this that can go into your reconsideration appeal. Or if your attorney's doing it, you may want to ask them to send you the statement and see if it follows along with what you've come up with. So if you see my screen, hopefully you can, you're able to read this. It says, I'm writing to formally request reconsideration of my denial for Social Security disability. I do not agree with the decision as it does not accurately reflect the severity of my medical conditions. Goes on to say the denial letter indicates that my degenerative disc disease was marked mild, yet the record from Dr. Franks clearly marks it severe. And then it outlines the limitations. So this is clear, concise, easy to understand information for Social Security. So I want you to think about this. You've done an appeal and it's in writing like this. Somebody else has done an appeal without this formulated structure on their own, which many people still do their reconsideration on their own, which is fine if you do it right. I mean, I want you to think about it from Social Security's perspective, like how is it going to be received? My take is it's going to be much better. So here at the Disability Digest, we represent some cases every month. And then we also teach a lot of people how to use the disability approval course. So that's the options that you have here. And you can use the course for free. But it's this same format and structure that we use to win the cases that we choose to partner with. So I know it works. It's just the right communication. So I have one more thing to add about AI. And then if you have questions, of course, start bringing them in. We're going to get into the Q&A in a moment. But you can use a free version of Chat GPT. Works fine. For doing this, it probably works great. But from my perspective in business, I use Chat GPT for a variety of things personally and professionally every day. And maybe you have the same application of frequent use on your side. But here's something that I've learned lately. If you have a paid account, and that paid account is like this one, the more information that you put in it, like the more customized, the more it understands you. Maybe it's you're putting in travel needs, maybe you're putting in recipes, maybe you're putting in how to deal with personal interactions with friends or how to work your disability benefits. All of that is a learning curve for the AI, which the more it understands you, the better it can serve you. So it's for like $15 or $20 a month. If you're a common user, you can always cancel it. but that's been my experience. It's just like, it's getting to the point where you just really can't afford not to have some form of like, it's like an administrative assistant for your own personal use. So that's just a little by the way from my experience. Good. Philip, Nadine, anything to add? Anything I might have missed on this segment?
Oh, I think it's great. And I might also consider buying premium access for myself. It's good to know that, the more you use it, the more it would actually get to know you. And probably when you ask questions, I would expect that it would be more customized depending on how often you use it and what information you provided to the AI, I mean to Chat GPT, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's at the point now where you can talk to it. There's this feature in the bottom. I've done that the other week. And oftentimes rather than write out something, because I'm not super proficient in typing, I'll just
Mm.
bang that out. So listen, if there's anybody out there that's, at the reconsideration level and would like some help, it's no charge. You can come on in, join the show, and do that. So let's do this. Nadine, if you would just set people up for understanding the next steps and how they could come in and join the conversation. And then once you're done that, Philip, we'll cover some of your questions and then get back to the Q&A piece. How's that sound?
Sure. So yeah, to those of you who want to join us live for the Q&A session via Zoom, I will be posting a link in a few minutes in the comment section. So when you're ready, just click on the link, and we would really, really appreciate if you post your question before you come into the room. So you can either send that question in the chat box in Zoom, or you can also comment it on the, comment section in the YouTube live. So you can all, if you're shy to join Zoom live, you can also post your questions, and I'm gonna ask Brian later, and he's gonna answer it live as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Well done. Okay, good. All right, Philip, what do you say? Let's get some questions answered from your Facebook group. Oh, you know what, Philip? I can't hear you. You're on mute. I'll give it a try, but it's really hard. Maybe I can turn it off. Let me see.
Is that better?
Oh, yeah. You were messing with me. I know how it works.
Gotta keep you moving.
Yes, thank you.
All right, first question here. It says, my husband applied for Social Security disability in 2016 and was approved a few years later. Since then, we've gone for 2 reviews. However, this time I received paperwork that looks almost identical to what he originally filed in 2016, along with a function report. Does this mean they're trying to make him reapply for benefits even though he has been receiving them for some time? They also sent a function report to complete for me, his wife, which I never had to do before. Is this normal?
Not normal. No. I'm curious how old, we don't know that, or age or any of that. 3 reviews and the third one. No, it's not normal. Usually short form, long form, people are reviewed a few times. But this is a delicate time right now. I'm just telling you, usually this doesn't happen. There's a few ways that we can help you. One is the adult function that you are filling out, and also the third party, I believe that's form SSA 3380. We have directions on how to fill those out in our disability approval course. So if somebody joins, let me see if I have it in this reconsideration one. No, I don't. No, because somebody would have already filled these out at this stage. So it's applied and waiting. So if you join us here at the Disability Digest, and what's going to be interesting is if you join, your husband is approved, which you could definitely select the right information, and then just follow the directions to contact the support desk here at the Disability Digest with your situation that Philip just explained about your husband, and then we will get you into the directions to fill out the adult function and also the directions for the third party. So if you could reference as best you can exactly that, then we'll get you that information. Now, in addition to that, we have a comprehensive course put together with attorney James Mitchell Brown, who will be here next week. I'll tell you all about that in a moment, that you should also get. And that will be really helpful in helping you understand how to communicate from here on out. This is, I don't want to scare you or intimidate you. I just am trying to help you. Usually this doesn't happen. And I applaud you for being proactive and asking Philip about it. But I would follow all of the directions as best you can because of these questions.
Quick note also is pay attention to the date on the letter you receive. There is a time schedule that you have to complete that review and get it back to them.
Yeah, good point.
All right, next question. It says, my brother was approved for SSDI for having stage 4 cancer. Sorry to hear that. Hope he's okay. My question is, he has 14-year-old son. Does his son get anything? If so, do we go to Social Security office? He has child support obligation, and his monthly rate will take all of his, or a huge chunk of his check.
Yeah, there's some interesting pieces of information that are not in that. Like, do you have custody? If you have custody, yes, I know for sure you get your child would get 50% of your check amount. So if your check amount was $2,000 a month, the child would get $1,000. Just a heads up, if you had 2 children, then the second child would also receive money, but it's capped out at the family maximum. The family maximum depends. It's usually between 150% of your check and 175% of your check. So let's just rolling it forward one more bit. Let's say your check is $2,000, you have 2 kids, and the family max is $3,500. Each one of the children would get $750. So back to your situation, Philip, if the individual has custody, definitely. If does not have custody, I'm not certain.
Okay. All right. Next one. Says I have a serious question. Okay.
Okay.
Says my mom passed away on the 6th. Sorry to hear that. Of this month. Her check was deposited around the 8th through the 10th of the month. When I called the administration, they told me I would receive her February payment, but if March came, to send it back to the bank. Hold on a minute, it disappeared on me. Sent it back and didn't do as we told them to do. Evidently, they sent it back to the bank, told them to send it back, and they didn't do it.
I don't know the answer to this one. I mean, the area of expertise that we have is Social Security disability benefits, which is helping somebody get them, keep them, and maximize them. That's a really good question, and it is a serious question. I don't know the answer. Our good friend, Dr. Ed Weir, he would be an interesting one. You can follow him. He does periodic live events.
Yeah.
And he does more like of the technical, like check related type questions, would be proficient at doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Next one here says, can I opt out of Medicare?
Ooh, you can, but you really need to be aware of the consequences. And let me preface this by saying, if you opt out with no consequences, that would mean that your spouse or some other way you have credible coverage. So if you can prove that you have other coverage that's credible to Medicare or Social Security, then you can opt out. Now, Part A is free, so most people are not concerned about that for most people. But Part B is $185, a bit of a stinger. And so if you have credible coverage and you want to opt out to save money, then that's one way you can do it. Now, if you opt out but don't have credible coverage, in my opinion, this, like the other individual said, this is a very serious situation that you need to consider, because you're going to save $185 a month, but what are you going to do for coverage? Even if you have Medicaid, Medicaid is not comprehensive. Like if you travel outside of your area, your geo area, and something happens, depends on how your Medicaid is set up, you could be exposed. You don't get the same quality treatment with Medicaid as you do with Medicare. And if you should ever have your status change or need to get back into Medicare, then you're going to be paying a penalty for late enrollment. So that status could be, let's say you received some money and that knocked you out of Medicaid. You got an inheritance. This has happened actually. Somebody got an inheritance, chose to opt out, saving $185. I'm all good. Bam, inheritance. And so now they're out of coverage and they're getting really just slammed with Medicare premiums. So here at the Disability Digest, if you're a member, you can request a review, and there's other ways. And the reason why I bring a review up is we'll review your benefits, and there could be other ways to minimize that cost or eliminate it. For example, depending on your monthly income, if it's like $1,700 or so or less, it is possible, or more, should I say, likely, that your state would pay for the Medicare Part B premium. And then you still have Medicare, and there isn't anything there. That's option one. Option two is many areas in the US now have Part B buybacks, is what they're called, where you can enroll into a program, a Medicare Advantage plan, and they will pay you by reducing your Medicare Part B premium to be in the plan. And in many areas, like in many areas of Florida, I've seen that they basically, from a competitive standpoint, they'll totally pay for your Part B. So it depends on where you're at. So those are some of the options. But if you're doing it to save money, I don't expect you're going to save money. You're messing with your health. It's just really a tough decision. Not a good one. I usually provide options and have people consider, but this one I feel pretty strongly about not doing it. Yeah.
All right, this is the last one, and it's a little confusing, so bear with me here. So I applied for SSDI on my own in March of 2022. Denied. Filed an appeal on my own. Denied. finally hired a lawyer, denied at the hearing level, hired a federal disability attorney to file federal against the judge that denied me at the hearing. My attorney for my federal appeal called today and said I won my appeal. The federal appeal court is now sending my case back to the original judge for another hearing and final decision. Does anyone know the percentage of claimants that get fully favorable decision at the last step of this nightmare?
I know at the federal level, it's, there's two ways to look at it. I think the overall percentage is like one. I actually just have a video that's coming out on expectations, but I would look at it another way. I would look at.
Can I hold you just a second, Brian? Because I don't understand something here. She's saying she was denied at the hearing and they filed an appeal to federal. Wouldn't the next step be after the hearing would be appeals council?
Yeah, I think she just left that out. You're not able to skip that step.
Yeah.
So, right, let me just see if I can pull. So I think I can do this without fumbling around and looking for the website with the expectations. So this is what I would advise to get an understanding of the probability. I don't know of any statistics for the remand. I don't. Maybe your attorney has that, but I would look at it this way. I would consider it, first of all, a good sign. Second thing is, I would look at the win percentage of your federal appeal attorney. Many of these individuals, and there's just, in my opinion, there's 3 people I know that I would actually trust to do federal appeals work. We don't do it. We represent cases, but it's very specialized. So hopefully they're good. Ask them what their win percentage is, and that would be the best way that I know of to help you get a handle on this. Nadine, once again, I forgot to give you the ultimate power here. There. And Brian just joined or logged in.
Yeah, so we have Brian. Are we ready to take questions, by the way, before we let him in?
Philip, that was the last one. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
We had some real good ones from the group today. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, just a brief introduction about Brian. He is concerned about his application. He's on his second appeal. He said he hired a disability law firm. So yeah, I think he have questions about the process.
All right.
So I'm letting him in.
Okay. So in a few moments, we're also going to take some of the questions that have been put in chat. So if you posted your question out there, just hang tight. Brian, can you hear us? Can you see us? Your camera's not on. Your mic's not on. Welcome.
Oh,
There.
There you go.
am I on?
You are, except for your camera, which is optional.
How do I turn okay?
You find
Wait,
it?
hold on. There we go.
Yes.
You got it.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm technologically challenged, so
It looks like you're really technologically with it, with like a power pack of high-tech stuff behind you.
that's our solar power. That's
Nice.
the solar power grid. I live at a sober living.
You live where?
At a sober living
Oh, nice.
for men. Yeah,
Okay.
in Venice Beach.
Oh, cool. Looks nice there today.
It's not too bad. It's a little chilly, but
Yeah.
it's nice. It's the beach.
Yeah,
So did you see my question?
I did.
I mean, and that's a general question. I mean, I kind of have a two-parter, but what do you think about that?
Don't know enough to really offer my take. I'm going to ask you a few questions, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so walk me through the application process again. What stage are you at right now? Initial application, applied and waiting, reconsideration, hearing?
I'm on the second reconsideration. I got denied and I tried to find somebody to help me. So I went down and I just filed an appeal at Social Security I mean, so it was not filled out very well. It was the bare minimum. I just got it in so I could keep my case open.
Okay, good. Good move. And so now you have somebody that's going to represent you at a hearing, right?
Yes, Evans Disability has taken over my case. Are you familiar with them? Evans Disability?
No,
Damn
no,
it.
no.
They got recommended to me somewhere online. I forget.
There's a lot of people that do good work here. So,
Yeah.
and if you're concerned about that, that's kind of a separate question. You can get information from us about like what you should be asking and what they should be doing, right? So your
Yeah, and
question
that's
is,
Go ahead.
your question is like, what are your chances of getting approved?
Sort of, yeah.
All
Yep.
right. So are you over or under 50?
I'm 57.
And before you applied, what did you do for the last prior 5 years of work?
I worked at a bike rent. I'm a carpenter by trade, but I haven't done that. My body just can't handle it anymore. So I worked at a bike rental shop on the beach.
Cool.
Now I haven't worked on the books for 4 years.
Okay. So you worked at the bike rental shop for how long?
3 years.
Okay. And then before that, it was carpentry, right?
Yeah, it was odd jobs kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'd like you to explain to me in 2 sentences or less. I'm going to stop you if you go over 2 sentences. You can collect your thoughts, right? Why
Yeah.
you're not able to work.
I'm not able to work because I suffer from high anxiety, depression, ADHD, bulging discs in my back, and possibly COPD.
Okay. All right. So what you communicated to me is unfortunate that you have these conditions, but it doesn't give me any idea why you qualify for disability benefits, because what's missing is
Yeah.
how those conditions limit you, like the brain health ones. Perhaps there's some interaction limitations that you have with people, or communication, or things that trigger you, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a little off track here, but what I'm attempting to do is help you understand what you need to prove,
Right.
and kind of get an idea then also what the viability is. So I would really encourage you to invest some time in following our information and understand how to communicate your limitations. Like, what is it about those brain health conditions that prevent you from working? And super important. Now, the bulging discs, that's typically a bit more obvious because you probably have sitting and standing limitations and lifting limitations, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that could be I can't sit for 15 minutes, I can't stand for 20 minutes, I can't lift more than 8 pounds, something like that, right? So if I knew that information and what was in your medical records, I could be of a lot of value to you. But what I'm attempting to say is, without that, it's difficult for me to say, oh, you know what, Brian, as much as I like your name,
Sure.
right?
It makes sense. I hear what you're saying. How do those things prevent me from working?
Exactly. And as you get ready to go into court, you know, again, you want to get that touched up. But I think here's the thing. For most people that have had a solid work history and they're not able to work, it's just, I might sound super simplistic in saying this, Brian. It's just really a matter of proving it, because I expect if you could work, you would work, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you a member here at the Disability Digest, or did you just drop in today?
Well, I always get I follow you guys. I'm pretty sure I always see your alerts. So
Okay.
I don't know how is it a paying thing? Do you have to pay to be a member? If that's the case, I'm not a member.
No, anybody with the name of Brian does not pay. No. So here's the thing. I'm going to show you as well as the others, and how we can help you. And Nadine will put this link in at the end.
Okay.
So here's how we can help you. When you come in and click this link and complete this profile, there's no charge for your membership. You're going to select the option applied and denied and fill out the rest of these. And then eventually it will get you into the membership category. Once you're in there, we can see your membership and we'll put you into our disability approval course. You're going to be in the section that is waiting for a hearing, right? So it's going to help you understand what questions you're going to be asked in court, what you should expect from Evan's disability. Is that right?
Evan's disability, yes.
What you should expect from it'll prepare you for your hearing, right? And there's no charge for the course. There's no charge for the membership. And so that's the best way that we can help you. But in addition to that, continue to follow us and craft your limitation statement, or listen to the episode 2 weeks ago that was live that will teach you how to do it.
Right. And let me just interject real quick that Evan's disability did contact my psychiatrist, who I've been seeing for the past 3 years. And she filled out a questionnaire that they sent her, which is sort of like what you're talking about. How does this stuff affect my ability to function?
Yep.
So, anyway, I think she filled it out favorably to me, is what I'm saying.
Well, I would get a copy of that, because that would then help you communicate consistently in court and understand what is in your records that you should be communicating, right?
And I think I can get a copy of it. Yeah.
Sure you can.
Can I, Brian, the one thing, Evans, it's hard to get in touch with them. I'm just sort of a number to them. You know what I mean? When I call, they don't really have my file in front of them. They help a lot of people. It's a little hard to deal with. I would have liked a little bit more personal touch where I can call someone and say, because, I just want to ask them, is there something I should be doing? Am I just waiting? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know I am just waiting. I realize that.
Yeah. But it is fair. Maybe try a digital approach. Send them an email or something, checking in. Anything I should be doing.
That's what I'm going to do. Absolutely. Because I sent them an email about a month ago. That's what I'll do. I'll send them another email. And
yeah, I mean, it's for disability representation. I guess it's the best way to say this. There's a lot of disability cases out there, and there's not a lot of what I would say to be top-notch representation. I'll just put it out there. So if you found somebody that you like that's working, just try to work out a communication plan with them, and be a good client. That's good. Because there's other people, they think if they hire somebody, they get to call them every day, and it doesn't.
Yeah, no.
nothing but annoy them, and they don't get the
Yeah,
right service, right? So,
right. I don't want to be that guy.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Thank you for listening, stopping by. We'd love to hear back from you after get your award and all that. So just remember, head on over and get into that section of the course. Okay?
will do. Thank you so much, Brian.
You bet. My pleasure. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Okay,
All
so
right.
we have somebody trying to join. His name is Elliot Franco, but he hasn't sent in his question yet. So I think we would have to wait for that and answer some of the questions here from the chat section. Um, Also, we have a shout out from David. He said, "Hi all, I just got approved in the appeal process thanks to Disability Digest for all that they do." So congratulations, David.
Congratulations.
And a warm greetings from Douglas. Hi, Douglas Smiley.
All right.
Okay. So we have a question here from Jade. She said, I get $142 SSI and I get $900 in SSDI. I asked another and I was told my SSI number should be a lot higher than the average. Is this true? What is your advice? Thanks.
It's really difficult with that amount of information to know because the SSI is a needs-based program. Without knowing
Mm,
like your assets and your living situation, it's just difficult for me to do that. An idea would be Centers for Independent Living, which we profiled in a lot of our work on YouTube and our membership. Most of them have benefit planners, and you could go there, ask for a benefit planner, no charge. They're organizations that are run to provide services like this, and ask that question. Now, of course, you could go to Social Security, but that is just colossally, doesn't even make sense. I can't even say it, how difficult it is to get somebody there that is really qualified to help you out. So that's an idea.
Okay. All right. Another question here from Bob. He said, I have 18 credits and I just made two this year. Do I have to wait until next year to apply for SSDI?
Most need 40 credits. So I don't know how old you are, but the answer to that would be dependent upon how many credits you need to qualify based on your age.
Okay. Yeah, so Bob, if you've heard that, I mean, not usually, but it is a requirement for someone to have at least 40 credits for you to qualify for SSDI. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, 20 of that should have been earned in the last 10 years,
That's
right?
right. Now, if
Yeah.
somebody is like 21 or in their 20s, they don't need 40 credits. It
Oh,
depends on their age. Yeah.
all right. So next question here from Jeffrey Collin. Does it always take this long for a reply back from SSA since 2021? So
Whoa.
yeah.
I don't know what I don't know the answer to that because I don't know what the inquiry was. I don't know how it was sent in. If you're talking about you applied in 2021 and you haven't received an answer, there's definitely something going on there. So right now, I just looked at it the other day. The processing time for decisions for Social Security disability is 240 days on the dot. So you're beyond that. So I would say that's problematic.
All right. Another question here. I have several health issues like RA, herniated disc, asthma, hypertension, and a heart murmur.
Mhm.
What diagnosis or health issue should I apply with?
All of them. Yeah, because even if you have subtle conditions like high blood pressure, or you've got an A1C that's like 5.7, which is not severe, but it's on the radar. You should put everything in there because it communicates the whole picture, everything from your head to your toes, and then beyond, if there is such a thing.
Okay. Another question here from Atana Morel. I have multiple sclerosis and was denied disability. My lawyer says I need to have a medical assessment by the government. Any thoughts on that? What that will be like?
Medical assessment by the government typically happens if it's an independent medical exam prior to a decision that would have denied you. So that part, not real clear about. I'd also be curious how old you are. If you're under 50, like an independent third-party exam that is not tied to the government could be really helpful for you if you're not getting the appropriate treatment through your doctors. So there's some pieces of that I don't have all the information, that I would like to be able to effectively comment.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we have Elliot Franco in the waiting room, and he just sent in his question. He said he's been diagnosed with late onset of cerebral ataxia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. A neurological condition affecting my balance, coordination, and mobility due to concerning findings in my blood and cerebrospinal fluid test. So that's his question, letting him in.
Just a shout out for that, Nadine. That was a mouthful.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Could be really helpful for you if you're not getting the appropriate treatment through your doctors. Welcome, Elliot. That I don't have all the information, that I would like. If you could turn my volume off on the other source so we can just communicate back and forth, that would be wonderful. All right. Let me know when you're ready to roll. I see your mic is muted at the moment. All right. While we're waiting for Elliot, do we want to take another question? Knock one out, and then Elliot, when you're ready, you join. Just a shout out for that, Nadine. That was a mouthful.
All right. Here we go. Yeah.
Welcome, Elliot.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Elliot.
Hi.
Hi, Elliot.
You could turn my volume off on the other source so we can just. Still hearing my echo. Are you is it coming through your computer?
Yeah, it's coming through the computer.
So if you hit, see if you hit the mute button on that, on the source from the computer, and then we can still.
Okay, let me see if I could, let me see, mute you, right? I guess.
Mute the YouTube part?
Tube.
Yep. Well,
It's me.
knock one out, and then Elliot, when you're ready, you join.
Or you can actually, for now, close YouTube and just be on Zoom. I think that would be better.
Good idea.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah.
There
All
you
right.
go. That's better.
Right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hope you're having a great day. How can we help you?
From yesterday, actually, I heard some great news yesterday, so we're working on. Back in July, woke up one morning, felt like a drunk sailor, fell out of bed. Um, After being diagnosed first with a stroke, then with Parkinson's, then with late onset cerebellar ataxia. Um, Doctors at first tested positive for Casper-2, and also my spine fluid's also out of whack there. Yesterday, Mayo Clinic finally called me up, and they're going to see me in 3 weeks. I'm in the medical stage right now of seeing them. I'm sorry, medical stage of diagnosis with Social Security, and was wondering, being 61 years old, what's the chances of them accepting this?
Mhm. Okay. So I'm just curious, the morning or the day before all of this happened and you woke up with the drunk sailor feeling, like, were you feeling all right?
I was fine. I was fine. Just woke up and then just like boom, no coordination, couldn't walk straight.
Yeah.
First I thought it was an inner ear infection or something. Didn't know. Went to an ENT. Went to an urgent care who thought at first I might have had a stroke. They sent me to a hospital. Hospital cleared me medically. Went for neurological, and now here we are.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'll get to your point in a minute, but I often say to people, you just, every day is a blessing. You don't know when it's going to happen. Hopefully everything's going to work out for you, but I don't think you expected that to happen.
No, did not.
No.
But my question is, being 61, and I was a hospital supply supervisor,
Okay.
so I was supposed to run around and check on all my employees, fulfill supplies, and make sure everything was all handled. But now I can't even walk straight. And actually, my boss told me, we don't want you coming because basically you're more of a liability.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So your question is probability of approval. Is that right, Elliot?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing this type of work?
My whole life I've been anything as far as logistics or, working in a warehouse environment and such. It's been my whole life.
Okay, and in a typical workday, like within say the last 5 years, like um was it an administrative component to it where you had like a certain amount of time, say 6 hours a day of administrative work, then the other two you were up and moving around, or how is kind of the flow of
No, actually, it was the opposite. It was
okay,
2 hours administrative and 6 hours running around and getting wound vacs, getting surgical supplies upstairs to surgery, just
okay,
filling in those oddball requests that they get that they don't have things, and then also checking on all my employees.
okay. And what about, so there was a lot of movement that you needed to be able to walk, say 6 hours a day. What about lifting? Were there lifting requirements for that?
Yeah, yes, there
What
was.
what were they?
Well, actually, it's also part of the job requirement that I'm able to lift more than 25 pounds.
Okay. All right. And can you now?
No, I can't walk without the assistance of a cane.
But what about lifting? Can you lift 20 pounds now?
Uh, could I? Yeah, probably if I exert myself. Yeah.
A little more than 2 gallons of milk, that's which is 16.
Yeah, I could probably lift it. Will it exert me? Yeah. Well,
Okay. So let's say you could do it once or twice, for example, right? Okay.
I have the possibility of falling if I'm going to be doing it.
Okay. So, and what is your what's your recovery schedule like? Like
There
this
is none. Right now, there is none.
there is none.
From what I'm reading of what I have, and this is I'm going to find out from the Mayo Clinic when I go there in 3 weeks, they're going to the prognosis is to slow it down. Well, what
Okay.
I have right now is pretty much permanent.
All right. All right. So we are rolling into March. Okay. So you're like 8 months or so into this, right?
Yeah.
All right. Social Security could say this, that, you know, it hasn't been 12 months. There's a possibility for recovery. Depends on what's in your medical notes, even though you and I, or however we're communicating. I'm just saying this.
No, but Brian, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but the brain has shrunk a little bit. My cerebellum has shrunk. It doesn't get bigger.
Okay.
So this is something, it is permanent.
Okay.
It's on the order of something like an MS or something like that, where coordination, motor skills, stuff like that.
Like your executive function, like there were people that had long COVID that had, you know, some similar challenges. But here's my point, and what you need to be prepared for is what Social Security could possibly do with the initial application. Then the thing that you need to prove is that in your medical records, there's documented limitations that prevent you from being able to be on your feet and walk 6 hours, do the lifting requirements, right? And you could really top shelf this by getting a third party letter from work saying, you know, this is what Elliot's work performance was like historically. This is what his situation is like now and why we don't want him here. That would help you out. Second thing that would help you out is in our disability approval course, there are doctor support letters called residual functional capacity report that each one of your medical providers should fill out if you want to do this right, confirming that you're treated, what their opinion is on your limitations, and how many days a month you would miss work. So if you really want to get approved at the initial application, I wouldn't presume anything. I've worked with people like John Green, who had stage 4 cancer, passed away before his decision. I had him at the reconsideration level. So you just, and that's one of the challenges. I mean, it fully sounds to me like you have a case that could be approved. It just needs to be done right. So
Would my age have a help
yeah,
for it?
your age would help for sure. Doesn't mean it's a slam dunk though. Yeah, you know, so I'm just attempting to make you aware of what could happen and give you the directions and what you can do to, you know, make sure that you get this done. Because if you don't get approved at the initial application stage, then you need to appeal it, like what I covered earlier in that in the program. The approval percentages there are like 11, 12%. Not likely, which means you're going to be going out to like maybe another 24 months to go to a hearing. So what you do right now is, in my opinion, critical to get it done. So are you a member of the Disability Digest or just tuned into the station here, or?
I've been following your YouTube channel, and no, I did not sign up for it, but I have been following you on YouTube, so I will. That's my next step. I also did already what you said about going to the doctor and having her draw up what my limitations are and what I'm able to do. And that should be ready either today or tomorrow. I sent that to her last week.
Okay, I would advise you not to submit what the doctor has put in writing. Well, you can, but Social Security recognizes a certain template of communication, which is these residual functional capacity reports. So the doctor might say, oh, you know, Elliot, he's a nice guy. He's always on time for his appointment. He asked me about my kids and all that stuff. And then, oh, by the way, I don't think he's doing very well. He's not able to work. and that's nice, but it's not going to be anywhere near as effective as a formal document. That's the residual functional capacity report. Okay. So when you come in and you join us at the Disability Digest, you get access to the course. If you get stuck, need some assistance, there's advocates here like Philip and Nadine. There's no charge for that to help you get through the process. You can continue to manage it on your own. If you get to the point you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this on my own, then you could have a conversation with somebody here and see if there may be a representation fit.
I definitely think representation, you're foolish not to have it going forward. And that's why I've been progressively looking at this and seeing who am I going to get to represent me.
Yeah. Well, that's your choice. I just like people to understand their options, but everybody has their own comfort level. But yeah, for sure. Come on in, contact us. We'll get you some help. And if that's the case, and if we're doing the work for you, then we can assist you with the residual functional capacity reports. We can do a lot of the things that need to be done for you, right?
Is it a physical office or is it all online?
We're all online.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep. We actually have been doing this for like 19 years. And when I started the business, because a large part of our workforce are disability recipients. So this was in 2006. And I didn't like the whole office structure at the time. And this was way before being remote was popular. But it just was the only way we could make it work because we had disability recipients from like different parts of the US, like Phillips in Texas, Daphne's in Florida. So that's why we're set up this way. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah, me
All
too.
right, so I guess click on the link and sign up, and I guess
Click on the link, sign up, come on in, and you'll contact just follow the directions after you come on in. We'll help you out.
thank you very much, Brian. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming by. All right. Be well.
Thank you,
Enjoy your
Elliot.
day.
Thank you.
All right. Do we still have time for a few more questions?
Sure.
Yeah, so we got a question from John. He is asking, can I get disability after I get regular Social Security? I think it's, it's not very clear if he's on early retirement or
I'm going to go
already.
with yes. I don't know what other Social Security that he might be referring to. So I'll see if I can fill in some of the blanks. Let's say John is 62 and a half and is receiving Social Security retirement and is getting $2,000 a month and is not able to work, can file for disability. And when disability benefits get approved, then the amount that you would receive monthly would increase from your retirement amount to your full disability amount, which is usually like 40% more. So yeah, the only downside is if you don't win your disability case, you are stuck at the 2,000, but you already took it anyway. So.
Okay. Right. Now we have a question here from Amber. She said, I applied last May and haven't heard a word from them. My case is still active. Do you think they're still going on my last time's records?
I have no idea what they're doing. It's way, you should take some action because 240 days is what you should be expecting for a decision. And it's beyond that. My suggestion would be if you're using a representative, this should be their job. Follow up with your case manager if you have one. It could be because there's a lot of turnover at Social Security that your case was assigned to somebody, was on their desk, they quit, fired, whatever the deal was, maybe took a buyout. and it's still sitting there and it hasn't been reassigned. There's a bunch of things that could happen. The other way that you can address this is bring it to the attention of your local congressional office. And we also have, there's directions on the YouTube channel and for our members about how you can contact your congressional office to do that. They're not going to help you get a decision, but they will find out like where your case is at and what's going on with it. Get somebody working on it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's all the questions that I have for you, Brian, from the comment. And just a reminder to everyone, I sent in a link for you to join as a member if you're not yet a member here. So yeah, feel free to join us.
Now, few things before we all depart. Important. It's been a lot of changes at Social Security. A lot of people are concerned about what's going on with the whole Doge thing and all of that, how it's going to impact benefits. And next week, we have Attorney James Mitchell Brown, industry expert, will be here. We had another agenda, but we've modified it so that we're going to update and take questions regarding to benefits. In addition to that, this is an event you don't want to miss if you're going through the application process, or even those of you that already have, because he's going to go through with us how to fill out the adult daily living questionnaire and the work history form SSA 3369 and form SSA 3373. Going to walk you through it, folks. We do have this in our disability approval course. But this will be an updated, hands-on, get to see and ask questions. So those are the two things that we're going to cover next week. So mark your entertainment calendars for Wednesday, 3/15. All right. Last thing is this. Here at the Disability Digest for a year, little over a year and 3 months, we have been working at providing a tool for you, our audience, our listeners, to get answers when we're not around, things that you may want to know. And you have the option to watch all these videos, and which is wonderful. I thank you for all 466 that are participating out here on YouTube. But when you're not here, we're not able to help you. So we wanted to find a way in which we could do that. And I think now there's like getting close to 2,000 videos on our YouTube channel. By the way, we're getting close to 100,000 subscribers. So that's something to celebrate in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stay focused here in my message. So what we've done is we've taken all of the information that we've gathered, the frequently asked questions over the last 19 years, and we have put it into an AI assistant so that you can ask the question and get the answer. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in public, I would like to introduce you to our friend Benny. And Benny, and we're going to put the link in here for you in a moment. Benny is somebody that you can come in here and ask a question. Like this question was asked, how much can I earn? And then Benny replies this answer. I'm going to put in another one here. Can I work and apply? I'm under pressure here, so I'm not always good at typing and talking. Can I work and apply for benefits? And so Benny will produce the answer. Yes, you can, but you have to work. There's an amount that you can earn up to. So this is a tool for you to come in, get anything that you can think of about like disability related questions. And if it's something like, can you walk my dog or do my dishes? Benny doesn't know how to do that. He's going to tell you that he doesn't know how, or he should anyway, tell you how to do that. So Nadine will put the link in there and go in, use it, love your feedback on it, and about helping you out. We're going to have other versions of this coming out, but we're super excited. I hope you are too in this next edition of service for you. Right? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Nadine, Philip, I think it was a great show today. I thank you for your help.
You bet.
Yeah.
Good
course.
questions. Nadine performed well in reading off all those conditions and everything going on with Elliot. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to do this work for you. Our job here is to be a trusted resource, to give you some hopefully reliable information and perspective on getting your benefits approved, keeping them and maximizing them. So we'd love your feedback. If there's anything that we can do to improve, please let us know. Don't hesitate. And we'll be back next week. All right.
See you next week.
See y'all.
Make it a great day, everybody. Thank you.